Welcome to the Motherhood Alliance podcast, the podcast dedicated to empowering moms and families on their health and wellness journey. I'm Brittany Suttner.
And I'm Andrea Rinkus. Together, we're here to explore holistic approaches that go beyond conventional medicine.
Each week, we dive into topics that matter most to you. Everything from nutrition and mental health to alternative therapies and natural living.
And whether you're a new mom navigating the early stages of parenthood or a seasoned pro looking for new ways to support your family's well-being, you're in the right place.
Even better, all of our guests are local small business owners who you can actually talk to and work with. You can learn more about today's guest and connect with hundreds of other health and wellness professionals through our informative and easy-to-use directory at motherhoodalliance.com.
Before we get started, keep in mind that this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for personal healthcare advice. Please consult your healthcare provider before making any changes based on the podcast content.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Are you ready to help your family thrive? Let's get started. Hi, we are Britt and Drea from motherhoodalliance.com, and we are excited to welcome you to a 3-episode series with Bridget Dean, the owner of Beyond ABC and the only certified Play Wisely infant and child specialist in the state of Wisconsin. Located in Pere, Wisconsin, Beyond ABC focuses on child developmental wellness classes for little ones ages birth to 5 years old and offers a safe and welcoming environment for both the parents and children to connect, learn, play, and thrive. Bridget has a passion for learning and playing with kiddos, overall childhood development, and helping parents, caregivers, and especially mamas navigate these early years of childhood. In her free time, Bridget loves to spend her time reading, skiing, golfing, and exploring new playgrounds with her 2 kiddos. Bridget radiates smiles, positive energy, and sunshine, and we know you're going to love her. So let's get started with today's conversation.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. We are excited to welcome back Bridget.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
We had a great talk in this last episode, in episode 1, about just connection and how important that is for moms and kids alike. It was just a great conversation getting to know Bridget and Beyond ABC. In this episode, we're super excited to talk about child development, especially in those early years. And Bridget, being a child development specialist, knows a lot about it. I guess the first question I have for you is, in a child's brain, because what you specialize in is kids from 0 to 5. So what is happening in their brain? How are they developing in that area, in that stage of life?
Yeah, so the reason we focus on that age range is because it's a time of crazy brain development. Mm-hmm. So within the first year of life, so from 0 to 12 months old, a baby's brain doubles in size. So there's crazy neural connections happening, over 1 million per second in that first year. So the brain doubles in size the first year. By 3 years old, it is now 80% of its adult size. By 5 years old, it's all the way up to 90% of its adult size. So this is a critical time of wiring in the brain and overall brain development. In no other time in the human's life does the brain develop as much as it does within the first 5 years. Now, it does keep developing after 5 years old, but also the synaptic pruning and use it or lose it, you know that saying?
Yeah.
That starts happening after 5 years old. So again, it's so important during these first 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of what you do is purposeful play. So how does that support the brain development and brain growth?
Yeah. So like I said, the child's brain is developing so much during this time. And the best way to foster that brain development is through play.
Okay.
So kids don't learn to move, they move to learn. So they're learning and experiencing the world through play, through movement of their body. And that's why we focus on, and why you hear a lot about play-based learning and why that's so important for kiddos' development is because they're moving their body in different ways, which helps create stronger neural connections in their brain.
Can you explain the different types of play? Because I know there's child-led play, there's parent-led play, there's something called how do you say that?
Didactic play.
Yeah. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So, there's different types of play. At the end of the day, any type of play is good. And a lot of this happens naturally with kiddos moving their bodies and interacting with the world. Child-led play would be play that is led by the child. So they come up with the idea, it's there, it could be them putting blocks together, but they're the one leading it, or maybe they're coming up with some story that they're telling through playing with a dollhouse or a garage or something. They come up with the story and they're the one leading it, and that could be them playing on their own, so just free play on their own, or it could be them asking, hey, mom, come on over and play with me, but they're the one guiding how you're playing. So that's child-led play. That's all coming from their brain, which is so cool to see, their creative side come out.
Yeah.
Parent-led play would be more, I'm the mom and I'm saying, hey, son, come on over here. We're going to build blocks together. And it's still a great learning opportunity, play opportunity, but I'm the one kind of guiding that play, just to play. But then didactic play would be, I'm leading the play, but it's with some learning goal in mind. So there's some learning goal. It could be the goal of learning cause and effect, right? We're trying to build that in my child. So we're building a tower and knocking it down. So that's more purposeful play that we're talking about. And then a lot of what we do at Beyond ABC is more that purposeful play where it's still play. It's still so much fun. And to the child, they just think it's play, but there's really more learning goals in mind.
Yeah. And I know you talked about how the first 5 years are so integral for brain development and growth. What if a child doesn't get like these types of play very often, or they don't get enough of each one, I guess? Can they still develop the skills they need? How is their brain development from there?
Yeah. I mean, what's so cool about how babies develop is that like a lot of this happens naturally.
Yeah.
Again, they're moving with natural instincts. And so a lot of that does happen. But as parents, we can, or caregivers, whoever's in charge of the child, can help make it more purposeful development and make those stronger connections through giving them opportunities like something as simple as tummy time, right? A baby can develop neck, back, arm strength through tummy time, but a child can't get onto their tummy unless you put them on their tummy. So that's simple, right? You're a parent, you're putting them on their tummy, but then it's like this great play opportunity for them. They're also experiencing the world in a different visual plane, right? They're going from being maybe laying facing up, looking up at the ceiling, to now they're looking down at the ground. So it's different orientation skills, or so a lot of this happens naturally. But again, as parents, we can kind of give that more purposeful development opportunity.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel like parents can balance? You walked through those different types of play. I don't want this to feel like another to-do item for parents. But if you want to be purposeful in helping your baby develop proper brain development and quicker, like you were talking about, how do you balance this? Whether it's parent-led or kind of almost forcing them to be imaginary on their own versus playing with them versus independent play. How do you balance all of that? What's your recommendation?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately, whatever your child is interested in, let them go with it. As much free play as your child can have, that's where it sparks the imagination, the creativity. They're going to move their body in the way that feels natural and good to them. So child-led in that way is free play is the best. But like there's all these beautiful opportunities for us to add that kind of didactic play or parent-led play, which doesn't even feel like we're forcing learning upon our child. And it can be something as simple as you have a baby and you sit with that baby on your lap with the baby facing towards you and you sing them a song. That's parent-led. That's actually didactic because you're trying to work on, like you could be singing the ABCs, right? So you're working on building that language development. But that's an easy low lift thing you can do with your child, right? But the goal is to have them look at you so they can see your mouth. So that working on speech skills, language skills. Or, it could be if you're trying to have more of that like learning opportunity, like I said before, like building blocks with your child. I have a 5-year-old who is very creative now and he loves to color. So he loves to just color on his own and that's great. And then the other day he was like, Mom, will you come color with me? I was like, sure, I'll color my own. He was like, no, I want to color with you. And I was like, okay, how do you want that to look? So I was asking him the question instead of being like, okay, let's do this. So I'm leaving that up to him. Okay, how do you want that to look? And he was like, well, I'll draw something on the piece of paper and then I'll give you the piece of paper and then you draw something. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Low lift. I'm sitting at the table. I'm drawing. I drew a stick figure. Like it did not have to be something super creative. And then so he drew something. He drew an orca. He loves orcas. I drew a stick figure. And then I passed the piece of paper back to them and I said, okay, what's happening? And then he started to tell a story.
Oh, cool.
So the whole point of this is like, as much as possible, child-led play, free play is the best. And you're able to kind of sneak these little learning opportunities into those play moments.
I think I just want to hit pause here and just think about how much, if you're listening to this and you're a parent, how much you're naturally winning.
Oh, yeah.
Like without even having to feel like this is a huge to-do list item, right? If you're basically spending time with your kids, you're winning. You're teaching them these things. Because the example you just gave, I think where I'm getting at with this is that we get so caught up in Pinterest and like seeing the Pinterest post of here's what it looks like to be a quote unquote good parent. And you have to have these popsicle stick creations. And here's how you're going to make your child's brain development be optimal as you're doing these crafts every day that have this intention. And it just feels so heavy. And for me personally, I'm not a craft person. So I'm just like, this feels like a huge chore to me.
Yeah. And I'm failing, right?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. But as something as simple as what you were doing is encouraging them in that small moment of allowing them to lead. But it was so simple and so tiny, but it is educational at the same time. Yeah. So I love that example.
Well, I think it's so important as parents to remember it's like comparison is the thief of joy, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, you have these Pinterest perfect, Instagram worthy sensory box that people put together, right? And those are, they're so fun and they're great for kids. But you know what? You can get just a great sensory experience. Go outside, get in the grass, touch some rocks, go to the playground, touch wood chips, like move your body on a playground. That's free. You're outside, you're getting a full sensory experience with the wind blowing in your face, the sunshine or the rain or the clouds. You can talk about what you're hearing. Do you hear the birds? Do you hear the wind? Do you hear crickets chirping? Like, that's a full sensory experience being outside. I mean, you can do it in your house too. Okay, let's go touch. This is wood floor. How does that feel? This is carpet. How does that feel? Like the whole point is you don't need these fancy toys. Yes, some of those are fun and they're great. Yeah. I mean, my preference with toys is anything, like Montessori wood-based toys where they have more than one use for it.
Yeah, lots of purposes.
Mm-hmm. Those are my favorite toys because you can get, again, a lot of different uses for it. And you can be super creative with it. And there's not just one way to finish the game or whatever it may be. Yeah. But yeah, go outside. I mean, how awesome is that we can get outside? And in Wisconsin too, we have all the different seasons. Yeah. Get out there in the snow. Kids love snow. It's so cool. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to be overwhelming. But like when you're thinking about like a low lift parenting opportunity to help your child with brain development, we're tired, right? We're so tired as parents. We're doing all the things. But like a lot of this stuff, like you just mentioned, Britt, it's like it comes naturally and you can feel good if you are providing your child with a safe environment where they can have fun. That's going to calm their nervous system. Their brain is going to be more open to receiving different stimuli and their brain is going to explode with development.
I love your term low lift play opportunities because that's real world right there.
Yeah.
Like you said,
for
so
tired
many parents are tired.
Oh, yeah.
I think about like, my husband, he gets home from work and there's some days he's just like, the kids immediately attack with love. Dad, come play baseball with me. Dad, come do this. And he's like, oh, okay. So we've found just playing games on the floor. My kids are a little bit older. They're 9 and 7. So like just getting out some sort of game from the closet. Dad can still participate and play, but it is what you're calling a low lift opportunity. So I kind of love that term. I think we all relate to that so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think as parents, it's good to, if it's a 2-parent household, I think it's good to kind of have that conversation with each other. Like, what do you like to do with our kids and what kind of like fills your cup versus draining you? So like what you just mentioned, it's, my husband, he works in a desk all day. So when he gets home, he's ready to move. And the kids love to chase around. Chase is like my least favorite game, honestly, with kids. I don't want to chase. I want to do the coloring or build the magnet tiles. So in those times when my kids are like, chase me, of course, sometimes I'll do it, right? We do these things because we love our children. But but if I just am exhausted or maybe I have something to do or whatever it may be, I just say like, oh, buddy, I love that idea. But right now my body's telling me that I need to rest. So what I would love to do is maybe we could build magnet tiles or in that situation, I make it a parent-led opportunity because I need that break, but we're still playing together. Or it's like, hey buddy, mom has to go. I'm going to make dinner because it's important to fuel our body. Right now you could go play with magnet tiles or maybe grab your dolls or like you could offer that, or you could just say, you go play. Yeah. And have them figure it out.
Yeah. You have a sibling. I gave you one.
Yes.
Go play with them.
Yeah. Go find your little brother.
I say that a lot.
Where do you feel like screens fit in with the play aspect, especially when we're talking about the preschool years or even younger? Because I know there are a lot of apps nowadays where it's geared toward learning and developing the brain skills and maybe getting an early learning on schooling or getting a early access to that stuff. So where do you feel like screens fit into development? Is this something that you integrate with your kids intentionally as a play opportunity, or is this kind of something you would say for older kids?
Yeah, I mean, as much as possible, trying to limit screen time, like face-to-face interactions or reading books or playing with physical toys, moving your body in a different way is ultimately the best. But again, we're tired, we're busy parents, we need a break sometimes. I think screens are okay in that way. I try and do it with like purpose. So not having it be like a super overstimulating show, or using it like, I need to get dinner on the table and I just can't play, and they're having a hard time playing and everyone just needs a break. I'm doing it for a purpose, right? They need a little bit of time to calm down. I need to focus on making dinner. Mm-hmm. So I think screens with a purpose are okay. I mean, like anything, using in moderation. But yeah, there are definitely some there's so many apps out there and stuff, but I would say, really try and limit it as much as possible, especially before 2 years old. A child really does not need to be in front of a screen. So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, ladies?
Yeah, I would, I was just thinking to myself too, is not making it a habit, especially when the younger years. Even my kids still love reading books in the car, because I never really let them have an iPad or a phone or anything in the back seat. And they just assume that they're just going to read books. Now, maybe on like longer trips, we'll maybe pull out a screen, but yeah, I feel like it's starting that early years, you kind of have that expectation.
Yeah, well, and you don't want a child to have to rely on a screen to calm down or to be stimulated in a certain way. You want them to find that from other ways. I think what a cool thing about technology that has come out, what we're doing here, podcasts, is there are podcasts for kids, where it's someone telling a story. It could be a Disney story, right? Mm-hmm. That they've seen, maybe they've watched a Disney movie, so they're hearing the story then. Or it could be, my son loves to listen to this podcast called Fact Detectives, where they like deep dive into spiders or bees or the dinosaur period, whatever it may be. And that way they're using their magic because they're hearing the words, they're processing it in their brain. They're not looking at anything. They're looking out the window or maybe at the seat in front of them, mm-hmm. but they're hearing it and they're building the story in their head. And it's crazy what they can remember mm-hmm. by just hearing it too.
Yeah, that's a great point. Love podcasts and education, listening to that. Yeah,
we definitely do that in especially car rides. Typically, if we're going to be in a car for over an hour, I'll bring their headphones, and car rides are so important for conversations too. But then there's also times like if my husband and I, if our whole family's going somewhere, we're like, we just want to talk too, and then the kids have something to listen to. My daughter loves one called Lingo Kids, and they actually are teaching through stories like principles of life, like bullying and just how to handle different situations. My son loves ones that are more like sciencey, like you were talking about with your kiddo. So that's definitely something we do. Mm-hmm. And I don't do it very often, but I will once in a while in our house. If one of my kids is just having a rough day, I'll just be like, hey, do you want to just listen to a podcast for a little bit? It's like a non-screen opportunity for them just to take a break. Yeah. Especially even on days that they're sick too, where maybe they don't want to read a book or have an activity specifically. It's like you can still take your brain off of your suffering essentially and still have some learning opportunity. So I love that you brought that up. Mm-hmm. Now, I know in your classes at Beyond ABC, you have a couple things that you focus on. You have these cards that you utilize, as well as you talk a lot about repetition within different ways of teaching and playing. So walk us through a little bit about like, what are you bringing into your classes that parents can also bring into their homes?
Yeah, so the Play Wisely program, it's a developmental play system designed to optimize your child's natural learning potential. So it shows it uses their natural development, but puts it into kind of a cool play-based program that helps your child have fun while learning. So just to talk a little bit about the program and why it's so good for brain development, like you said, Britt, we do a mix of what we call cognitive flashcard system for half the class, and then also motor skills, working on foundational motor skills for half the class. And again, the whole class is based on the idea that your child is making all these neural connections. So the goal is to build stronger, more efficient, faster neural connections in their brain so that, once they get older, they can learn things more easily and navigate the world with more ease. So the flashcard system works on foundational learning skills like building attention, perception, memory, and then working on language skills. So we're introducing concepts like images getting bigger and smaller, and getting lighter and darker, and counting forwards and backwards, and subitizing skills, and singing the ABCs as you would know them, like A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
And then we also sing the sounds of the ABCs. So A, B, K, D. So the sounds that our letters make.
Neat, yeah.
Priming language abilities. So that's a very high level overview of the card system that we use. But again, everything we're doing is trying to build those stronger neural connections. And then the other half of class, we work on motor skills. So that motor development is so important for kiddos too. So we're working on, we have 8 different motor skills that we feature. So it's catching and throwing, kicking, striking, balance, strength, translational movement. So that's movement forward, backward, side to side, up and down. Rotational movement, so spinning and flipping, and then fine motor skills. So these are all foundational cognitive skills and motor skills that are going to help just give your child the best start in life.
And one other thing that you talk about is the serve and return concept. So what is that?
Yeah. So that's a very, very important principle in helping your child build social emotional skills. So like with babies, like you remember what I was talking about before, where you can just sing a song to your child. So that face-to-face interaction is so important. So babies, it's so fun as a mom when your child smiles for the first time, right? So that is them serving up something, right? They're serving a smile to you. Your goal is to return that smile. So they smile, you smile back. That teaches them, one, connection. They're feeling safe with you. They're also understanding appropriate reactions, right? If someone smiles at me, I smile back. It could be, their child claps and then you clap back. Yay. You did something. Yay. Or, they throw something off their high chair and they say, uh-oh. And you say, uh-oh. So you're repeating back what they do. And again, that helps build that connection. It helps build those social skills. It helps build the societal norms that, when someone smiles at me, I should smile back. That's a kind thing to do. Mm-hmm. So that's an easy way that you can help build. It's just they do something and you mirror it back at them.
I love it. Does that still apply to the kids that are getting closer to that 5-year-old age time frame, or is that more of something to be really focused on in the younger years?
Well, definitely focused on in the younger years when that nonverbal communication is happening, because we're communicating through our facial gestures or movements. But yeah, as a child gets older, for sure, mirror that back with them. Your son is like, oh, I'm so sad that I didn't get to go to the park. And you're like, oh, I can see how sad you are. That would make me sad too. Mm-hmm. Just validating that emotional experience
and then you can
too.
have conversations.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's so great. I think what we covered in this episode was really fun. I mean, there's a lot of the why behind, but also I love how we were able to sprinkle in the aspect of not having pressure around this with our kids. So I think what you are offering is great. And you do have a couple blogs that you wrote for Motherhood Alliance that are on your profile. You actually have a blog specifically about the power of serve and return in building your baby's brain. So if that concept interested you guys, make sure you go and check out that blog article from Bridget. And then you also wrote another one called Our Baby is Creating Millions of Neural Connections Every Second. So it's pretty amazing what they're doing during this time frame. So if this conversation intrigued you guys, or if you know anyone who has littles or is pregnant for the first time or is even trying to conceive, share this with them because they have an awesome opportunity to help build their baby's neural connections super, super early. So I do want to also mention that Bridget is offering 10% off any of her Play Wisely classes, her class series, and the code for that is Motherhood Alliance 10. So you can go ahead and contact her if you want to take advantage of that. And she does offer a first class free as well. So Bridget, anything else you want to share about how people can get in contact with you?
Yeah, you can visit our website at www.beyondabc.co. We're also on Instagram at beyondabc.co, and we're on Facebook at Beyond ABC, and especially on the socials and on the website, we have lots of examples of our Play Wisely cognitive card sets and the motor skills, and you can find lots of ways that you can play with your child on there, and it just gives you a little bit more about all the other classes that we offer as well, like our Tiny Dancers Baby Wearing Dance class and our music therapy classes and open gyms and Baby and Me play dates. We have so much going on for little ones ages 0 to 5, and we hope you'll come check us out.
Yeah, I love what you're offering. And speaking of your Music Therapy, our last episode together here, we're going to be joined by Jessica from Carousel Music Therapy. And so you guys have partnered together to offer this awesome class for good reason. So we'll be diving into what musical therapy is and why it could be beneficial for your kiddos in our next episode. If you enjoyed this episode, would you consider leaving a rating or review or sharing it directly with a friend who could benefit from the information? We know that you're a busy mom or caregiver, and our goal is to make your life easier by bringing tips and tricks directly from experts into your earbuds. By sharing this episode with someone you love, you can play a critical role in helping to make their life easier as well. We appreciate your time, and thank you for being a part of the Motherhood Alliance family.